The Senate State Affairs Committee in recent years has been the committee where bills that are passed in the House die in the Senate. They get put over into the Senate State Affairs Committee where they just sort of linger and are never heard from again. And that happens often. And I'm going to show you some examples of that in a minute. But the House version of this is the House Ways and Means Committee. So you've got the House Ways and Means Committee and you've got the Senate State Affairs Committee, which is usually where bills that nobody wants to touch, that seem toxic for whatever reason, the establishment doesn't like, those bills will end up going to those committees and just sort of be forgotten. And we're trying to expose that, because when bills pass on a certain side of the House or the Senate with great fanfare, and then they sort of, people go, what happened to that bill? You know, I mean, the Idaho House made national, maybe even worldwide news. There was a tweet out that somebody tweeted that said the Idaho House passes the death penalty for pedophiles. And that tweet got like 14 million views. So, but that's not law yet. It was simply just passed in the House. So people think, oh, Idaho passed that law, but it didn't pass it yet. The House voted for it, and now it has to go through the proper channels. So I just want to, as an example, I just want you to see here exactly what happens at the Senate. Our organization sent out a mailer about Senator Chuck Winder, who's the pro tem, the leader of the Senate. And it's his duty to direct where bills go when they come over from the House. And this mailer highlighted 10 bills that were passed in the House that ended up going to the Senate State Affairs Committee and dying and never getting a hearing, or never coming out of committee and never going before the floor. Those bills include H547, which prohibited ballot harvesting, H631, which prohibits mask mandates, H708, which prohibited the proof, having to show proof of a COVID vaccine by the government when you're dealing with the government. House Bill 719, which allowed religious exemptions from the COVID vaccine. House Bill 761, Secure Idaho Elections Act. This was to help reform and bring some integrity to our elections. All of those bills were passed in 2022, I believe, and in the House, and then they died in the Senate State Affairs Committee. Before that, the year before that, House Bill 122, which would allow staff with enhanced concealed carry permits to be on school campuses. So this is a similar bill that was already passed, that we just talked about, was passed 3 years ago now, and died in the Senate State Affairs Committee. House Bill 414, which allows religious exemptions from medical procedures. I'm going to read them all. House H7 417, allow employees to receive workers' compensation if they're injured by a work mandated vaccine. House Bill 419, which protected medical privacy from employers. House Bill 429, which allowed exemptions for children from masks and those stupid plastic enclosures that they put up in schools. That was in 21. All of those bills passed the House. They ended up in Senate State Affairs, and they died, never to be heard from again. So that's why we're not going to let that happen again without at least you knowing about it. So where's the bill? 415. Let's put that graphic back up. House Bill 415 is currently sitting in a graveyard. I mean, I'm going to call it a graveyard right now because it won't be heard. That is the track record of this committee, which is chaired by Senator Guthrie. A few years ago, it was chaired by Senator Patty Ann Lodge. And they just love to kill bills. And we exposed Patty Ann Lodge for lying when in a tweet thread last year, which was pretty incredible. Anyway, we'll keep tabs on that, but I want you guys to know that. Okay, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we have attorney Kate Hartley with us. And we want to dive into this House Bill 517, which is going to be a game changer. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll bring Kate Hartley in.
Spending this money surplus, which is not a surplus; it's an overcharging of the taxpayers.